On News Hour tonight, Katsina councils pursue peace deal with bandits. Lamido slams Ibadan PDP convention as gathering of friends. Kano residents call for pedestrian bridge safety awareness. Away from Nigeria, DR Congo, M23 rebels sign Qatar peace framework. Hello and welcome to News Hour on Trust TV. I am Mariam Idris. Katsina insecurity continues to push communities into tough choices. 3 more councils, Kankia, Kusada and Ingawa, have now entered a fresh peace deal with bandits. Local officials met the group led by Kachalla Muhammad at Karadua Primary School in Matazu on Saturday. Trust TV's Abdullah Yamadi reports.
As at the last count, the number of local governments that entered into truce with the bandits in Katsina State is 20 out of 34. Council chairmen and traditional leaders from the affected local governments were in attendance. The bandits, riding on motorcycles, arrived and hurriedly left the venue in less than an hour, celebrating victory over weakness, firing gunshots into the air. The bandits confidently and proudly rolled out all their demands to the attendees before taking response from the representatives of the affected LGAs. Journalists were restricted from filming at the venue for security reasons. Parts of the deal is the release of all captives in the hands of the hoodlums, while on the other hand, local authorities promised to facilitate the release of suspected terrorists under the custody of security agencies and correctional facilities across the state. Residents across the areas covered by the peace deal are still casting doubts and asking questions about the effectiveness of the truce following renewed attacks on their communities. My only hope is for us to regain our freedom from these bandits. Let there be peace. Hundreds of people have lost their lives. Survivors have lost their livelihoods. Let us start a new life. I expect constant consultation with the bandits to prevent any breach of agreement. Let there be strong committees that would be meeting from time to time at least to strengthen and consolidate on the gains of the peace deal and make reviews where necessary. I think with this peace pact just reached, our rural communities will have relief kind of, at least to enable them harvest their farm produce and face the reality of life. People, especially in southern and eastern Kankia, have suffered serious economic losses. One of the troubling questions residents of the affected communities are asking is why attacks still occur in some local governments covered by peace deal. Abdullahi Ismayamadi, Trust Television News, Katsina.
Now, economic activities in farming and cattle rearing communities along the Kano-Katsina border are taking a major hit following a surge in bandit attacks. In at least 20 villages across Shanonu and Tsanyawa local government areas, incidents of kidnapping, killings and cattle rustling have sharply increased. Trust TV's Abdulaziz Ibrahim visited the affected communities and reports that many residents have already fled their homes in fear.
Residents say the crisis, which began escalating in 2022, has worsened in the last 6 months, with many killed, several abducted, and cattle rustling becoming almost routine. Farurua town and neighboring villages such as Yankwada, Ungwartudu, Yerlukwi, Santa Abuja, and Karo have endured this steadily worsening insecurity for years. Other heavily impacted communities include Gorunduse and Saure in Shanono local government area.
They have been demanding money. By then, they demanded 15 million from one Alaja Haruna, and they were already collected the money there, which they get away his wife and one of his son. Yes, and he paid the ransom. So since that, they have been taking away the people.
They explained that while attacks were once mostly at night, bandits now strike in the early evening, catching residents off guard. In Bodingawa and nearby villages, fear has become a way of life. Many residents leave the community at night, returning only at daybreak to avoid attacks.
Our minds are no longer at ease. The attackers strike at night and now even in the afternoon and evening, scaring people, killing and looting.
Shanono and Sanyawa are known for their large cattle rearing populations, but panic sales have become common as farmers rush to dispose of their cattle before the rustlers strike.
We are in crisis. We depend on cattle rearing to survive, but they come into our homes to steal our cattle. People are rushing to sell off their cattle. Many are overwhelmed and fleeing their villages. We appeal to the government for help and pray this crisis ends.
Security operations have recorded some successes, but residents say the effort must be intensified. Even with increased security presence in Farurua, many villagers at neighboring villages remain displaced, and 3 nursing mothers are still reported to be in captivity.
Around 8 o'clock after Isha, they came here to abduct my colleague, but security operatives eventually rescued him. In Toranya, at a place called Kudansu, stolen cattle used to be gathered there. Security operatives took action, but our people are still living in fear.
While communities continue to search for lasting solution, the Emir of Kano, Muhammadu Sanusi II, during a recent visit to Farurua, called for tougher conditions in peace talks with repentant bandits in neighboring Katsina State. He stressed that any agreement must firmly prohibit them from attacking communities in other states.
It is our responsibility as leaders to come and see our people, to commiserate with them and sympathize with them. And I came to reassure them that the state government is doing everything that it can, along with the security services. The governor has bought vehicles, the governor has provided resources. They can see already the movement of the army and the police in this area. And we'll also encourage them to use their vigilantes to help protect their villages. And we urge the people of Katsina, when they make peace with bandits, to ensure that that peace does not include the right to attack neighboring communities and have a safe haven. We pray to Allah to bring peace to our lands, and we will continue our best working with the government to ensure that peace is maintained in the state.
Whether the renewed calls for tougher peace terms will bring relief is uncertain. But for residents here, action can't come soon enough. Abdulaziz Ibrahim, Trust TV News, Kano.
Now, popular Islamic cleric Sheikh Ahmad Gumi has defended his involvement in dialogue with bandits, insisting there is no cause for alarm, despite renewed calls for his arrest. In a statement posted on Facebook on Sunday, Gumi criticized those attacking him, describing them as spineless, irresponsible and unpatriotic, and accusing them of preferring outrage to honest conversation about insecurity. He recounted a January 2021 peace mission to the Sabon Garinyadi forest in Kaduna State, where he and the then State Commissioner of Police engaged more than 600 armed bandits and their commanders, persuading them to surrender in exchange for security and basic amenities. Gumi accused that the government's failure to honor the agreed terms collapsed the peace effort and contributed to continued violence. He questioned why mediation efforts should attract calls for arrest, emphasizing that free speech is guaranteed by the Constitution. The cleric urged Nigerians to embrace practical solutions instead of emotional reactions, warning that silencing voices pushing for dialogue would only worsen insecurity. Now, troops of the 3 Division of the Nigerian Army, in collaboration with Operation Enduring Peace, have arrested a suspected gun runner in the Jebu Miango community of Basa local government area of Plateau State. According to a statement by the spokesperson of Operation Enduring Peace, Major Samson Zakom, the arrest was made following credible intelligence. Zakom said troops participating in the recently launched Operation Peace Shield intercepted the suspect, identified as Ishaya Musa, at the Jebu Basa bypass checkpoint in Basa local government area, where arms were also recovered from him. The operation urged residents to remain vigilant and promptly report suspicious activities or useful information to security agencies to enhance ongoing efforts to curb the proliferation of illegal weapons in the area. President Bola Tinubu has dispatched an emissary, Abiodun Esiet, to Plateau State as part of renewed efforts to restore peace and strengthen intercommunal harmony. This was disclosed in a statement issued on Sunday in Abuja by the President's Special Advisor on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga. According to the statement, Esiet, who serves as a Senior Special Assistant to the President on Community Engagement for the North Central Zone, has spent the last 2 days in the state holding a series of meetings with Christian clerics and Fulani leaders. The engagements culminated in a town hall meeting in Jos, the state capital. Delegates from various local government areas, traditional rulers and women and youth groups also participated in discussions on strengthening community-based peace structures and fostering peaceful coexistence. During her visit to Barkin Ladi, Esiet met with Reverend Ezekiel Dachomo, chairman of the Regional Church Council, where conversations focused on the role of faith-based leadership in promoting peace, unity, and social development. She also interacted with widows in the community, conveying President Tinubu's message of ethnic reconciliation. Esiet reaffirmed President Tinubu's commitment to peace and inclusive governance, stressing that the community-based peace structure remains a vital tool for grassroots unity, dialogue, and long-term stability in the North Central region. Now, 2 people have been reportedly killed in a fresh attack by armed assailants while returning from the market in Kwande local government area of Benue State. Witnesses said the victims were ambushed on their way from the Jatuaka market to Nzav communities in Yav Council Ward of Turan district when the attackers opened fire and inflicted deep machete cuts. A former official of Kwande local government area, Akerigba Lawrence, told our correspondent that the incident occurred around 4 p.m. on Saturday. He said the bodies were later found lying in pools of blood. Chairman of Kwande local government area, Yarkwan Taswa, confirmed the attack and appealed for urgent intervention, noting that residents remain helpless amid recurring violence. He described the killings as devastating, adding that the insecurity has become a serious threat to community safety. Taswa said investigations were ongoing to identify the perpetrators. Police spokesperson for the Benue Command, DSP Udema Edet, had yet to respond to calls and messages seeking comment as of press time. Now, former Jigawa State Governor Lamido has dismissed the People's Democratic Party (PDP) National Convention held in Ibadan on Saturday, describing it as nothing more than a gathering of friends. Lamido said the event held no legal weight, insisting that a valid court injunction he obtained on Friday afternoon had been duly served on both the Independent National Electoral Commission INEC and the PDP before the convention took place. According to him, no other court ruling or interpretation can override the latest order, which he said clearly restrained the party from proceeding. Reacting to comments by Chief Bode George, who accused him of misunderstanding the party's nomination procedures, Lamido dismissed the criticism, saying George had not fully transitioned from military to civilian politics. He also accused the former deputy national chairman of leading the faction currently suspended from the party. On why he approached the courts instead of opting for internal reconciliation, Lamido said he had spent years trying to avert the crisis and warned that PDP had weakened itself to the point of losing public confidence. Now, joining us live in our studio is political analyst, Professor Udenta, to discuss more on the story. Thank you for being here, Professor Udenta.
It's a pleasure to be with you this evening. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. What are the implications of the PDP proceeding with the convention despite court orders to halt it? And how might this affect the party's legitimacy?
Well, you know, when you have a court order from the Supreme Court, that is final. You have a court order from the appeal court, that is second to final. You have a court order from a high court, federal high court or state high court, that is just the preliminary order. The PDP relied on the decision of a high court in Oyo State, reaffirmed 2 times before the convention, for them to proceed and have the convention. Fully aware there was another court order somewhere in the federal capital saying, stay put, don't do the convention yet. If you stay put, that means you are relying on the court order of the one in Abuja. If you don't stay put, you are relying on the court order in the one, the one from Oyo State. So that is why the party has to go on and do the convention. Secondly, the tenure of the Ambassador Damagun-led NWC will expire about the 9th or 10th of December. That's less than a month. If you don't have any convention and the possibility of having a Kenya committee is remote, given the factional infighting, then the party may actually screech their heart. So it's better to have a convention, rely on the legal premise provided by the court in Ibadan, and then walk away through the courts, post-convention, to finalize some other issues that may be in contention. So for me, it was a historic moment for the party. I'm not a member of the party, but as a watcher of democracy and a student of Nigerian history, I feel that the party should bring to closure all these conflicting issues for the past 2 years since the 2023 general election. The decisive moment came for the party last Saturday to hold a convention in Ibadan. The party has held the convention, elected new slate of leaders. But for me, the task before these new leaders is to do what? Begin an aggressive, focused, robust conversation to rebuild the ranks of the party, to reach out to the leaders of the party like Lamido and appeal to them about seeing the bigger picture, and not a narrower picture that may define their personal interests, but something that, even though you're right or wrong, the overall interest of the party, our multi-party democracy, the ability of the party to lead the progressive voices in 2027 may quite overwhelm any other limitations anybody may have about the party. My take, therefore, is for the new leadership of the party to simply note the lingering crisis, the factional disputes, the legal challenges, and then walk around the clock in the next couple of weeks in order to assuage the feelings of Nigerians and party members.
Okay, talking about leaders of the party, how will the election of the new national chairman, Kabiru Taraki, impact the party's internal dynamics and its chances in the 2027 elections?
The good news for the party is that the 2027 election, it may not be too far, but it's not too near. You still have some months before you can begin to think in terms of presidential primaries or primaries to select governorship candidates and senatorial candidates. So you have enough window of opportunity in terms of time available to begin a very serious, detailed work about trying to rebuild the ranks of the party, reaching out to to people within the party, to party leaders, and then try to convince those who still believe in the mission and purpose of the party. It's time to close ranks. Again, have a very strong legal team, because the legal challenges won't go away unless you tackle them. And again, let INEC understand too that as a regulator, it too has to weigh in and decide on which side he believes, he weighs his own opinion on, the leadership of the party or those who are fighting for the factional soul of the party. So if the leadership of the party is committed to this kind of aggressive campaign of understanding, talk to those who may feel a little bit uncomfortable with certain decisions at the convention, reach out to the governor, say remaining within their ranks, to party leaders and others who are still available. If you do all that, I'm sure in less than no time, the party will be coherent enough to stand for election 2027 with remarkable success.
Now, the PDP has been plagued by internal conflict and defections. Do you think the party can recover and present a strong opposition to the APC in 2027?
The PDP can recover alone. The PDP needs to do this in concert with civic voices and civic platforms and civic agencies, equally together with other opposition parties. You have elements within the SDP, elements within the Labour Party, even within the ADC, and there's some new party formations like ADA waiting in the wings. If the party, actually rebuilds its ranks, reassesses its mission, re-energizes its base, the party has to start a very vigorous campaign of reach out to these civic voices, political organizations, in order to have a formidable umbrella, which it purports to be in the contestation for power in 2027. If it does so remarkably well, yes, it will give the APC a run for its money.
How will the expulsion of prominent party members, including Nyesom Wike and Ayo Fayoshi, affect the party's strength and cohesion?
The convention is the highest organ of any political party, not just the PDP. It is higher than the NEC, higher than the NWC, higher than the other organs of the party. What the convention has spoken, the convention has spoken. I think a time has to come for the party, for the people, the members of the party, take back the soul of the party. 1998, when the PDP was bettered, it purported to be power to the people. Apparently, over the intervening years, the elite dominated and then took the party. Now the people are asking, give us back the party. Any governor who wants to go should go. Any leader who wants to be a traitor within our rank should go. So even if we have a party now that is mobile, in narrower, in focus and spirit, but then committed with passion and zeal to whatever it believes in, it is better for the party than to be overburdened by people with big name and big faces and big reputation who do not mean well for the party, who may even be like a cog in the wheel of the progress of the party. To that degree, I cannot fault the decision of the convention of the party in expelling some people.
All right, thank you, Professor Odenta, for the insights.
It's a pleasure to be with you.
Thank you. Now, away from that, the Nigerian Bar Association (NBA) says the judiciary cannot function independently as long as it remains financially dependent on the executive. In a communique issued at the end of the NBA Akure branch 7-day law week, the association warned that the judiciary's lack of financial autonomy has left it severely weakened, with the executive reportedly withholding between 60% and 70% of its budget. According to the NBA, this funding shortfall forces heads of courts to solicit support from the executive, exposing judges to political pressure and compromising their impartiality. To address the problem, the Akure branch announced plans to set up an ad hoc committee to work with both the judiciary and the executive to ensure full implementation of constitutionally guaranteed financial autonomy. The communique also called for full enforcement of the Correctional Service Act 2019, urging the Ondo State government to establish a dedicated department for correctional reforms and to properly fund rehabilitation and reintegration programs for ex-inmates. It further recommended more halfway houses, public-private partnerships to support reintegration, and the development of data systems to track correctional outcomes in line with global standards. On border justice reforms, the NBA pushed for limiting judicial involvement in elections, insisting that responsibility for electoral integrity should rest more on the executive and the legislature. Now, abuse of drugs does not only have to do with illegal drugs, but misuse of drugs, particularly prescription drugs for the purpose other than those for which they are meant for. Health professionals are warning the general public against the misuse of antibiotics drugs, as it ought to be prescribed by a health practitioner before use. Victoria Tokolo report.
Nigerian health professionals have raised concern over the increasing misuse of drugs among the general public, especially antibiotic drugs. They warn that improper use of antibiotic poses serious health risk. Medical practitioners advise that antibiotic medicine should only be taken after prescription from a qualified medical practitioner.
Inappropriate use of antibiotics has led us to this level where we have a lot of antibiotic resistance, in which case the germs that cause this disease no longer respond to the antibiotics because we have used them wrongly. And during those wrong usage, these bacteria have devised means to sidestep the actions of the antibiotics. They are now causing what we call superbugs that cause infections that are very difficult to treat, and they are responsible for a lot of deaths globally.
Because this drug you are taking is not supposed to be like that. What you are taking is, instead of helping you, it will cause more damage. Why not go to hospital? Or even some antibiotics supposed to come with some tests. Maybe if you do go for medical test, it will recommend the drug you will use and how to use it. Not to just buy it because somebody said that when I had this thing, this is what I use and it works for me. Some of them, our body system is not the same thing.
Lagos residents also called on the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency to stop drug hawkers across Lagos State without NAFDAC approval.
Medication of which is very, very bad. People get drugs once they feel little pain, they go and buy body pain, take some. Even some people go to the extent of buying antibiotics of which is supposed to be taken, with doctor's prescription, probably on 6 months or 1 year. Some just take them on weekly basis, probably because of the nature of their job. So of which they don't know that they are damaging their heads, destroying their kidneys and their liver.
Prescribe if they prescribe drugs for you, for example antibiotics, maybe for 88 hours. Immediately you start it, you make sure, maybe the doctor that prescribed the antibiotics for you said maybe after 6 hours you should be taking it. Make sure you follow what the doctor told you. You should be taking it 6 hours. If it is 88 hours, you should be taking it 8 hours.
Health professionals are calling on the general public to seek proper medical advice before taking any drug, particularly antibiotic drugs. They emphasize that responsible use is important to preventing complications and combating the growing threat of antibiotic resistance.
Moving on. The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, has arrested a suspected drug baron, Frank Ibimesi, popularly known as Chisco B, after weeks of surveillance on his operations. Ibimesi, who is said to be the CEO of Frank C.J. Ibimesi Nigeria Limited, was arrested in the early hours of Saturday, November 15, 2025, at his Daisy Garden Hotel on Agbeke Street, Ago Palace Way, Isolo, Lagos. NDLEA spokesperson Femi Babafemi, in a statement on Sunday, said operatives later led the suspect to a warehouse on Pius Aziobi Street, also in Ago Palace Way, where 42 jumbo bags and 4 cartons of loud, a potent strain of cannabis weighing 1,762.8 kg were recovered. Cash found on him at the point of arrest included $11,600, 2,000 euros, 2,200 pounds, and 50 Canadian dollars. Now, the governor of Borno State, Babagana Zulum, says his administration will consolidate address security challenges to ensure that farmers in affected communities return to their livelihood without fear. He stated this during the official flag-off ceremony of the agricultural inputs distribution under NAC's AP 2025-2026 dry season wheat production program. Governor Zulum noted that his government is committed to revitalizing and boost food security in the state through investments in irrigation, mechanization, quality inputs, and extensive services. Meanwhile, The Minister of Agriculture, Abubakar Kyari, said the FG's intervention will be implemented in 16 states, targeting 80,000 registered farmers with 40,000 hectares earmarked for wheat production at an expected output value of approximately 160 billion naira.
Distribution of seeds and agrochemicals to over 20,000 farmers last year have transformed the community from a zone of displacement into a model post-conflict agricultural recovery, improving household food security, market activity, and social cohesion. Our sustained focus on both dry season and rain-fed farming has brought a paradigm shift to agriculture in Borno State. This year, I'm pleased to announce to this gathering that every farmer that has cultivated his farmland, she or he, was able to produce what he can feed himself and his family for the next 1 or 2 years.
Out of the 40,000 hectares earmarked for wheat production, the 2025-2026 dry season, 3,000 hectares have been allocated to Borno State, representing 6,000 wheat farmers. This support will be followed by the second phase of the program, which will promote the cultivation of other priority crop value chains across the state.
I have been supported twice before, and now we have seen bumper harvest even during the rice season farming. I have even cultivated and get about 42 bags last with the support of federal government and other measures that I have been valued together.
This is the News Hour on Trust TV. Coming up after the break. Kano residents called for pedestrian bridge safety awareness. More news when we return. Just stay with us. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is the News Hour on Trust TV. Now let's take a recap of our major stories again. Katsina councils pursue peace deal with bandits. Lamido slams Ibadan PDP convention as gathering of friends. Moving on to more stories. The North Central All Progressive Congress APC Forum has condemned a protest staged by some Plateau APC members in Jos on Saturday, opposing the possible defection of Plateau State Governor Caleb Mutfwang to the party. The forum has been at the forefront of efforts urging Governor Mutfwang to dump the People's Democratic Party PDP for the APC, arguing that his entry will significantly boost the party's strength ahead of the 2027 general elections. But some Plateau APC leaders remain strongly opposed to the move. During a reception held in Jos on Saturday for new entrants into APC, a group of party members demonstrated with placards rejecting Mutfwang's anticipated defection, insisting he should not be admitted into the party. In a statement issued in Abuja on Sunday and signed by its chairman Sali Zazaga, the North Central APC Forum described the protest as undemocratic, stressing that no Nigerian, including a sitting governor, can be barred from joining any political party of their choice. The forum maintained that welcoming the Plateau governor into the APC will be in the party's best interest. It urged President Bola Tinubu to caution Plateau APC leaders allegedly working to block Mutfwang's entry, warning that it will report those obstructing the move directly to the president. Now, the presidency has confirmed that President Bola Tinubu will soon announce appointments for ambassadors to Nigeria's foreign missions, 6 September 2023, following a comprehensive diplomatic review. All ambassadors were recalled from Nigeria's 109 missions, leaving most posts headed by charge d'affaires on senior consular officers. These officials have limited authority, and some foreign governments have reportedly not accorded them the same regard as ambassadors. Special advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga, said that the appointment will take place soon. A source close to the presidency hinted that the list of ambassadorial nominees could be released within the week, possibly coinciding with the president's upcoming travels. The source added that a final review of the list was ongoing to remove nominees who had died, retired, or were no longer eligible, ensuring that all selected candidates meet the necessary requirements. In many Nigerian cities, pedestrian bridges are built to save lives, but ironically, many people still risk their lives crossing busy highways instead of using them. These multi-million naira structures often stand empty or are converted to other uses, while pedestrians dart dangerously across fast-moving roads below. Trust TV's Abdulaziz Ibrahim takes a closer look at why pedestrian bridges are being ignored and what can be done to change that.
They were built to protect lives, yet for many Nigerians, pedestrian bridges have become a symbol of inconvenience rather than safety.
It saves lives, because if you try to cross the road without following this bridge, anything can happen with you, with big lorries, trailers, and other heavy lorries that can hit somebody to lose his life. So when you are using this bridge, it will help you and the community around the area. It will save the lives of many people, either children, older people, and so on and so forth.
It's safer, and then the advantage of using this road is because I can pass easily and avoid accidents.
Across major highways, people climb over barriers and sprint across express roads instead of using bridges just few meters away. Some bridges have been taken over by street vendors or homeless individuals, leaving them narrow, crowded, and unsafe for pedestrians. Many structures have steep or poorly spaced steps, making them difficult to climb, especially for the elderly, people with disabilities, or mothers carrying children. A trader walking near a bridge also shares what he observes daily.
Some people are scared and someone has to hold them. Some rush across, others say it gives them headaches. But honestly, the bridge has been helpful to us.
In many areas, installed barriers are torn down or pedestrians simply walk a short distance away to cross at unprotected points. Residents emphasize that safety agencies must combine enforcement with sustained public awareness campaigns.
Crossing like that is dangerous. A fast car can hit them. Anyone who thinks the bridge wastes time doesn't understand its importance. They need enlightenment. And turning the bridge into a market or a place for beggars is wrong. It wasn't built for that, and undue weight on it can even cause problems for the structure.
I know it's not wasting time. When you speak about the nature of the road, so it is a very, very busy road. So when you say you are going to waste your time, maybe you go to lose your life.
Urban planners say many Nigerian cities are designed for cars, not for people, as pedestrian infrastructure is often an afterthought. As Nigeria continues expanding its road networks, making space for pedestrians is not just a matter of convenience, it's a matter of life and death. Abdulaziz Ibrahim, Trust TV News, Kano.
Now, residents of Mayo-Renewo, one of the largest fish-producing communities in northern Taraba State, are raising fresh concerns over the collapse of the only major access road linking the area to neighboring towns. They said several administrations from the First Republic have promised to construct the road but reneged. Now the report.
The road, according to the ward head, has remained in a deplorable condition for years, crippling economic activities and threatening livelihoods in the community. The ward head, Mayo-Renewo Ward, Ardokola local government area, highlighted that for decades, the ward has been known across Taraba State and beyond for its abundant fish production. But despite its economic significance, the community remains cut off due to collapsed road. He added that repeated appeals to authorities have yielded no results.
Our area has potential for many business activities. We produce fish in very large quantity in and outside the state. We are one of the community that can be described as agricultural activities zone. Farmers from different parts of the country comes to our land and farm. But major problem is lack of good routes to enable the transportation of their goods. And as a result, a number of people patronizing the market is decreasing day by day. We are appealing for government to come to our aid.
The situation is not only affecting residents. Fish sellers, many of whom rely on daily transportation to market, say the bad road has increased losses, raised transport costs, and reduced patronage.
I am a fish seller. I rely solely on this business, but since the collapse of the road, we began to experience a setback in our business. We are calling on government to construct the only road that links the community to the town.
Me, personally, I used to come here and buy frogs. Buy frog. I used to buy from this local government, that is Adokola, and sell it in Takun local government, Chanchanju ward. It's just 2 years because I didn't start it for long.
My name is Saminu Saidu. I was born here in Mayo, Raneo. We are facing a serious challenge due to lack of road that link our community with the town. Our parents complain on the issue since before we were born, and now we are grown up and meet the same challenge our parents face. And if government continue to fail their promises, our children will also face the same challenge. We call on both the local and state government to intervene in fixing the problem for the betterment of the citizens. The quantity of fish has increased, but the problem is low patronage by our customers. They are not coming like before. If you go to the bank of the river, over there, you will see a lot of vehicles and people are waiting for the boat to take them across the river. This situation discourages most of the people coming from various places. It has become a tradition. Men cut the fish from the river and sell it to the women. Then, women sell the fish to our customers coming from different parts of the country.
I used to patronize this market. I purchase fish and sell in Adamawa State. Things have changed. What we bought at the rate of 50,000 naira recently is now 100,000 naira and above. This problem is as a result of the difficulty we encounter when transporting our goods.
We used to come here and purchase fish as it is the largest fish market in the state, where one can get fish in abundant supply. But the suffer we encounter on the road is affecting the business. The number of people patronizing the market have reduced.
Drivers who ply the route has expressed frustration. They describe the road as a death trap and damages vehicles and puts passengers at risk.
I'm a driver. Our major problem is the collapsed road. The past administrations promised to construct the road, but none of them fulfilled the promise. We have people that held top positions like members House of Assembly. We once produced a Speaker of the State Assembly from the Mayo Raneo ward. So we deserve more consideration from the government. So we are appealing to this present administration to consider the situation and do the needful.
The people of Mayo Raneo are appealing once again for urgent intervention from the government to rehabilitate the road and restore economic activity in the area.
The management of Ibrahim Dankwambo Mega Motor Park in Gombe has announced a new operational guideline aimed at reorganizing activities and restoring order within the park. The directive, which takes effect from Monday, 17th November 2025, mandates all transport unions and their affiliates to strictly load passengers only from their designated terminals, a move that replaces the previous system where some youth scavenged for passengers in exchange for commissions. However, unions are divided over the ban of passenger scavenging and joint operational guides, alleging it's a plot to cripple their booming business. Trust TV's Hassan Lawankoli has more.
Under the new arrangement, all unions and affiliate operators must strictly use their allocated terminals when boarding passengers. The management has also stopped the practice where young men hustle for passengers on behalf of unions and drivers, a system that has long served as a means of earning daily income for some youths. According to the management, the decision became necessary following rising concerns over disorderliness theft, hijacking of passengers' belongings, and increasing complaints of unfair competition among unions.
We are doing what we call realignment, whereby all the operators will work together, irrespective of the union you are. That is maybe one by one basis, so that on the leadership of the major unions in the park, so that we can be able to curtail the scenario of this unnecessary competition, whereby if you come, we are going to Bauchi, you are going to Kono, we say it's in Terminal 7, for instance. In this Terminal 7, all the unions will work there, so that every terminal is allocated to where the routes, where the buses or taxis will be going, so that we can be able to have an organized, organized system of park here in Gombe State.
However, not everyone agrees with the new rules. Some unions fear the directive may negatively affect their operations, arguing that it will weaken their business strength and reduce their competitive advantage. This new guideline may cripple our booming business. We need a more flexible system that allows us to compete fairly and attract customers. Our terminal is at the far side of the park. Therefore, passengers are being hijacked from the gate, which is directly affecting our business. But with the new policy, it's fair, I believe. While some drivers say it will help reposition the transport sector, others argue that those affected by the ban should be provided with an alternative source of livelihood. We understand the need for organization, but many young people depend on this for daily survival. Government or management should find something for them to do. As both sides maintain their positions, the effectiveness and reception of the new policy will be monitored closely when full implementation begins on Monday, with many optimistic that the scavenging policy will be reviewed. Hassan Lawan Koli, Trust TV News, Gombe.
The Edo State Police Command has arrested 21 students of Okioma Public Secondary School, Benin City, for alleged involvement in court-related activities. The command's public relations officer, Moses Yamu, disclosed this in a statement on Sunday, noting that the arrested students are aged between 14 and 17. According to him, the teenagers were apprehended after police operatives foiled an attempted attack on Osemwende Public Secondary School, located at Ogogibi of the Benin Sapele Road. Commissioner of Police Monday Agbonika urged parents and guardians to monitor their children more closely and remain alert to the groups they associate with, both in and out of school. He also called on school authorities to strengthen internal discipline, report suspicious gatherings promptly, and work closely with security agencies to curb juvenile crime and violence. Agbonika reaffirmed the command's commitment to securing schools across the state in line with the Nigeria Police Force Safe Schools initiative. You are still watching News Hour on Trust TV. The news continues after the break. Welcome back, and now to business news. Standard & Poor's Global Ratings has revised Nigeria's outlook to positive from stable, while affirming the country's long-term and short-term sovereign credit ratings. The ratings agency said the upgrade reflects growing confidence in Nigeria's external fiscal, economic, and monetary trajectory. Improvements in macroeconomic indicators, rising oil production, and ongoing reforms under President Bola Tinubu were cited as key factors supporting the positive outlook. S&P noted that structural reforms, including exchange rate liberalization, the removal of petrol subsidies, tighter fiscal controls, and efforts to boost revenue have strengthened the economy. It now projects Nigeria's growth at an average of 3.7% between 2025 and 2028, up from a previous 3.2% forecast, with inflation expected to ease to around 13% by 2028. On the foreign scene, Rwanda-backed M23 rebels and the government of the Democratic Republic of Congo have signed a new peace framework aimed at ending decades of conflict in the country's mineral-rich east. The agreement was signed in Qatar, which alongside the United States and the African Union has been leading efforts to broker a durable settlement after multiple failed attempts in recent years. The latest move comes months after the M23 captured major eastern cities, including Goma and Bukavu, and a renewed offensive that has displaced hundreds of thousands and worsened an already dire humanitarian crisis. The U.S. Special Envoy for Africa, Masad Poulos, said the framework contains 8 protocols, though many still require further negotiations. He admitted progress on key issues such as prisoner exchanges and ceasefire monitoring has been slower than expected. A central sticking point remains Kinshasa's demand for the withdrawal of Rwanda troops from Congolese territory. Kigali insists it will only do so once the FDLR, a Congo-based militia composed largely of ethnic Hutus linked to the 1994 genocide, is dismantled. Still on the foreign scene, United Nations agencies have sounded the alarm over the escalating humanitarian disaster in Sudan, where fighting between the Sudanese military and paramilitary rapid support forces RSF continues to spiral the conflict, which erupted in 2023 after tensions between the former allies broke down during Sudan's stalled democratic transition, has already killed at least 40,000 people and displaced 12 million. According to the World Health Organization, WHO, aid groups warn that the true death toll may be far higher. Last month, the RSF captured Al-Fashar, the capital of North Darfur, and carried out atrocities in the city's Saudi hospital, where more than 450 people were killed, WHO reported. Witnesses, aid workers said RSF fighters went door to door, killing residents and committing sexual assault. The UN Refugee Agency, UNHCR, said as many as 90,000 people fled El Fashar and surrounding communities in the last 2 weeks alone. Jacqueline Wilma Palivet, head of the UNHCR sub-office in Port Sudan, said many of the displaced are stranded in unsafe areas, unable to move due to insecurity or the presence of vulnerable people, such as persons with disabilities. WHO spokesperson Christian Lindmeier warned of an escalating famine risk, noting that over 21 million people are facing severe food insecurity as of September, with famine already confirmed in several towns. He said many are dying from lack of access to basic health services and highlighted the rising threat of cholera, which has already led to more than 3,500 deaths. In sport, Nigeria's Waheed Enitan Oshodi has been re-elected as an executive vice president of the International Table Tennis Federation, ITTF Oshodi. Oshodi secured 90 votes, finishing among the top 7 candidates out of 15, vying for the 8 available vice president positions during the federation's elections. His re-election further strengthens Nigeria's and Africa's representation in global table tennis administration, following his successful contributions during his previous tenure. Oshodi is also the president of the African Table Tennis Federation and is widely regarded for his developmental impact across the continent. And with that, we've come to the end of the News Hour on Trust TV. Do not forget to follow us across all our social media platforms and also join our YouTube live stream for more news. I am Maria Medres. Thank you for watching.